Alright, so today in this video, I'm going to show you how we can build an app or a web app using AI, and not only that, but also self-host and deploy it on a VPS. And now that we have a lot of these AI coding tools floating around, creating an app is pretty simple and straightforward, right? You just go ahead and give a couple of prompts, hit enter, and follow the instructions given by AI. And in about 30 minutes or let's say 1 hour, you will have like a basic MVP already ready with the database, authentication, front end, backend, API, all that. But the real problem begins when you want to deploy it, make it live on the internet, and make it production ready. And again, one more problem here is that if you go ahead and rely on hosted services like let's say Supabase or Vercel for deployment, the bills can quickly add up and the free plans have certain limitations as well. So the primary focus of this video is not going to be building the app, but instead after building the app, how do we go about deploying and making it live on a VPS? So basically we'll use Coolify to not only host your application, but also the database as well. That means you don't have to pay for Supabase or use any other provider. So pretty much all the services that we use for our app stays within our own VPS and we can manage it. And again, it will be pretty cheap and affordable too. And if that sounds interesting, without wasting any more time, let's quickly get started. So here I have opened up the websites of apps and services that we will be using in today's video. So first of all, I'm planning to create the app using Cursor AI. So if you don't already have Cursor installed, you can head over to cursor.com and download it for your computer and install the same. And next step, for database, we'll be using Supabase, but no, we won't be directly using it via supabase.com. But I mean, a lot of you might already know that Supabase is actually an open source project and you have the option to self-host it on your own VPS and then use it, right? And that is the exact method that we will be following in this video. So basically we'll get a VPS and then also self-host Supabase, and I'll show you how to do that later in this video. And next up, we'll also use Coolify for deployment, right? So for deploying our app and also to deploy Supabase, we'll be using Coolify. And Coolify is like, an alternative to Vercel. But the good thing is that if you own a VPS, you can first add Coolify and you can get a interface and functionality similar to Vercel, but for a fraction of the cost. And that is the reason we are going to use Coolify. And next up, we obviously need a VPS to, let's say, deploy both our app and the database, and also to install Coolify. And for that we'll be using Hostinger, but you can use any cloud provider, but I felt Hostinger is pretty simple, straightforward, and they even have one-click option to set up Coolify. So that's the cool thing. So if you manually want to install, let's say, Coolify on a VPS, you can totally do that. But if you're about to use Hostinger, in just a single click you can install Coolify, and then within just a single click right within Coolify we can install Supabase as well. And again, this is going to be a Next.js based project. Okay, so here I have the Next.js website opened up as well. And if you go ahead and copy this command right here, and if you open terminal and run this particular command, you'll be able to set up a new Next.js project. So here I have already opened up Cursor and I opened up a folder called as habit, and then I ran that particular command. Okay, there you go, pnpx create next app @latest. So I just created a blank folder, opened it up in Cursor, and I ran that particular command, and here we have Next.js setup. And if I run pnpm run dev and hit enter, okay, it's in localhost 3001 because I already have a dev server running in 3000. But this right here is the boilerplate page of Next.js, and the Next.js project is already set up. So basically, if you want to create a React-based project or Vue or Svelte, whatever that is, you can follow along. But in this case, I plan to use Next.js, and I just installed Next.js as well. And now here we have the app ready, right? And again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this video is focused more on the deployment part, like setting up the database and also, deploying the actual app on the internet, like in Coolify on a VPS. And for the same reason, I'll be only creating like a very simple and basic app. I am planning to create a habit tracker, by the way, but in your case, you can build whatever app that you want to and include all the features that you want to. It's totally okay. But just for demonstration purpose and also to make it quick, I'll just create a habit tracker app. And now that we have the project opened up in Cursor, I'll open the agent panel and give a simple prompt. So in this case, I'll say, I want to build a habit tracker app. So I have already set up a blank Next.js project, and you can take it up from here. Okay, so I'll just say I want to build a habit tracker app, and let's see how far Cursor will take it. And now I'll hit enter. And again, we'll actually want to use Supabase, but after the initial version of the app is ready, we can go ahead and get a VPS, install Coolify, set up Supabase, and then after that we can configure our app to use a database. And once all of that is done, After the fully working version of the app is ready, I'll also show you how we can deploy the app to the same Coolify instance. Okay, in which ways, as you can see, the AI has started working on the same, and it has like, okay, planned like 7 to do items: build authentication system, okay, create protected dashboard. All right, so I'll click on run. Okay, in which ways, it will take some time, so I'll wait for the AI to complete implementing the initial version, and I'll see you afterwards. Okay, it seems like the initial version is ready, but we have some errors, so I'll just copy the error. Maybe I can stop it for now, and I can simply enter that in here. Please fix the following error. Okay, let's wait for cursor to fix the error first. Alright, so the error is now fixed, and this right here is the simple version of the habit tracker app that Cursor has created, and it has actually even added login, I believe. Okay, so I believe it must be using, let's say, local storage for the time being. In which ways, let me try to sign up for a dummy account. Sign up. Okay. Alright, so that is like a dummy login. We'll fix that later. But this right here is the simple version of the habit tracker the AI has created, and I can add a habit. Okay, so we have some bugs in here as well. So let me quickly go ahead and fix it. I can drag and drop the screenshot. When I click on the add habit button, a pop-up opens up, but I believe it has a transparent background and the content are not made visible properly. So please fix it. So yeah, I'll wait for the AI to fix all of this, and I'll see you afterwards. Alright, so seems like that's fixed. I can click on add habit. Okay, maybe let's say workout 30 minutes. Let's choose green. Why not, right? I can click on create habit, and there you go. The habit is added in here, so I can check it out. Okay, I can complete it, and if I want to, I can add a new habit. And here we have the basic version of the habit tracker ready, right? And if I refresh, okay, so right now this data is not getting discarded, or let's say deleted, because it's actually using local storage, right? So all this data that we store in here, like all the workout information, the name, and all other details are being stored in the browser's local storage. But next step, this is where things get very interesting. So we want to add Supabase so that we can store all this data into a database and also on a VPS. So the next important step is getting a VPS, installing Coolify, then setting up Supabase, and then we'll go ahead and link that particular Supabase instance to this app such that our app has a proper database, and that too a self-hosted one. So for this, the first thing that you have to do is to click the link in the description below and head over to hostinger.com. And after that, if you go to the services section, here you can find an option that says VPS hosting. So I'll select the same. And if I scroll down, as you can see, here we have a couple of plans. So in this case, I'll go with the KVM2 plan, but depending on how much, let's say, resources you need, you can go ahead and select any of these plans. So for the time being, I'll select the KVM2 plan. And by the way, right now they have like Black Friday sales going on, so you can make use of that as well. So I'll get it for like 12 months. And now if you're about to use my coupon, that is Astro, you will get additional 10% discount. So you can enter the coupon in here and apply the same, and there you go, instant 10% discount. Or if you're about to, let's say, purchase the VPS for 24 months, if you use the coupon that is Astro15, you'll get additional 15% discount. So if you're planning to get a VPS from Hostinger, make sure you use these coupons. And now that we have, okay, I'll select it for 12 months. I can enter my coupon. And the next thing that you have to do is to select the data center location. So it is the best if you could select a location that is closest to your target audience, or let's say the people who, like the most amount of people who visit your website. It would be best to keep the data center close to that particular region. But in this case, I'll keep it as India. So in your case, if it is different, just select that from here. And this is the very important part. In the select operating system section, if you move over to applications, okay, maybe I can search for it. You should search for something called as Coolify, and you'll find something called as Coolify, that is OS with panel, and you can click on the same and now click on confirm. Now the interesting thing about using Hostinger is that in just a single click, right now I selected Coolify, right? And after I complete this purchase, Coolify will be automatically and already set up on my VPS, and I can instantly start using it. If you were to, let's say, manually get a VPS and then try to install it, then you'll have to go to the Coolify documentations, and you need to click on this get started button right here. And then you will have to follow all these documentations to install Coolify. But if you get a VPS from Hostinger, in just a single click, you can get a VPS with Coolify already configured. And all I have to do is to click on continue and complete the purchase. So here I'm now logged into my Hostinger HPanel account, and I can already find the VPS that I got. And I'll click on this manage button right here. And if this is your first time when you open this particular interface, the first thing that you have to do is to click on this particular option that says manage panel. And as soon as you click on the same, it will open up this Coolify setup page. And the first thing that you have to do is to add a username and password for the administrator account. And after that, you will be taken to a dashboard like this. Okay, so make sure you are the first one to click on this particular manage panel button and reach the sign up page, because the first user gets to create the administrator account. And now once that part is completed, this is going to be the kind of interface that you will see. And we already have like Coolify part setup complete, right? So that's the interesting thing about using Hostinger. And the next thing that you have to do is to click on this particular option to create a new project. You can give it a name, description, and click on continue. And in my case here, I have already created a project and it is called my first project. So I'll open the same. And since we want to set up Supabase, the next thing that you have to do is to click on this particular button right here that says new. And now it will open up this particular page that says new resource, and you'll be able to self-host like a bunch of different stuff. So first of all, if you want to, let's say, deploy your app, you can select one of these options. That is private repository, connect your GitHub repo, and then you can directly deploy your app, which I'll show later in this video. But right now we are planning to self-host Supabase. So I can search for Supabase. Okay, there you go. Here we have Supabase. I'll select the same. And next up, okay, if you want to modify the service name, the admin username or password, you can just go ahead and configure all that details from this particular page. And all you have to do is to click on this deploy button. And in about 5 to 10 minutes, the deployment process will be complete, right? So right now I'm not doing this because it will take like 10 minutes. But if you want to customize any of these details like username or password, you can do all that and click on this deploy button and your Supabase will be deployed. And once that's done, if you head over to your project, you will find something like this. So this one right here is a Supabase project that I already set up. So I can open it up. And right now, as you can see, the deployment process is now complete. And here I have like Supabase running. So pretty much everything works. And now after Supabase is deployed, the next thing that you have to do is to obviously configure the same. And again, this right here is my dashboard username and password. So what I'll do is I'll click on this link option right here and click on this particular option. And all I have to do is to enter my username and password. So I can copy this username and paste it in here. And I can get my password and paste it in here and click on sign in. And there you go. We now have our Supabase instance live already. And again, this particular instance, I used it for a different tutorial. So I will already have like a table, but no issues. I'll delete it right away. Okay, let me delete it. And authentication, I can delete that as well. Okay. So once the deployment process is done, this is the state you will be in, right? So we have 0 users, 0 tables, nothing whatsoever. And next thing that you have to do is you need to connect this particular Supabase instance to your app that we're building, right? So right now, we don't really have any authentication or database added to this particular project, right? So this right here is our app. So next up, we need to link this particular Supabase project, that is our self-hosted Supabase project, to the app that we're building. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and say, next up, I want to add Supabase for authentication and database. And the thing here is that I'm using a self-hosted version of Supabase. So I basically self-hosted Supabase on a VPS and I'm planning to use the same. So can you please set up Supabase on this application for authentication and database, and also give me the SQL query to run to create all the required tables, indexes, and RLS policies as well. Okay, and now I'll click on the send button. And now what happens is that cursor will go ahead and set up and install the Supabase JS and SSR packages. So yeah, let's just wait for it. So it says, I'll help you set up Supabase for authentication and database in your habit tracking application. Okay, let's set up. Okay, it is right now installing the Supabase JS package. I'll click on run. And while cursor is implementing Supabase, we need to link our Supabase project, that is this particular project, to this particular app. So obviously I'll have to create a new .env.local file. Okay, I can create the file in here, and we need to get our Supabase API key and also the URL, and getting them is pretty simple. So towards the top, you will find an option that says connect. So I can click on the same. And now if I move over to app frameworks, there you go. Here we already have all this content filled in for us. So here we have the next public Supabase URL and also next public Supabase anon key. And these two are the things that we will need. So I'll simply copy the same just like that. And now I can paste it in here. And here we have added both of them. And again, if you're using an ORM like let's say Prisma or Drizzle, and if you want to connect directly, you can get your connection string from here and add it as well. So make sure you replace your password in here. But in this case, we'll be using the Supabase JS client. And yeah, that is how we are planning. And yeah, that is how we are planning to do this. So let's just wait for it. All right, so there you go. So Cursor is done implementing Supabase for authentication and database, and it has even created a setup MD file. And as you can see, it is asking us to add the next public Supabase URL and next public Supabase anon key into a .env.local file, which we have already done. So here we have both of them added. And next up, okay, project ID, got it. And next up, we need to run the SQL to create all the required tables. So as you can see here, we have an SQL that Cursor has created, and it's called Supabase schema.sql. And now all I have to do is to just copy the entire content from here. And now I'll head back to Supabase, and here I can find an option that says SQL editor. And by the way, if I go to table editor right now, as you can see here, we don't have any tables yet. But as soon as I run this particular SQL that Cursor has created, it will create a public.profiles table, then public.habits, habit completions, a couple of indexes, RLS, okay, a policies and a bunch of stuff. And now all I have to do is to click on this run button right here, run this query, and there you go, success, no errors returned. And if I head back to table editor right now, I'll be able to find all these tables in here. So habit completion, habit profiles, all of that is in here, and we don't really have any data yet. And if I go to, let's say, authentication, we don't really have any users either. And yeah, now what I'll do is I'll head back to our app, and there you go. It is now, right now, if we only log in, we'll be allowed to access our app, and it is taking us to the login page. But since we don't have an account, I'll try to sign up for an account. Let's give my name as astro@astro.com. Since we don't have email verification enabled, we can get away by giving like a dummy email and then a random password. And now I'll click on sign up, and there you go. I'm now logged in, and it says welcome Astro, log out. So everything is in here. And now if I head back to Supabase, and if I go to the authentication section, here I can already find the email that we used to sign up just now. And if I go to database, as table editor, here we don't have anything yet. So the profile is created, but we don't have any habits or habits completion, right? So I'll just go ahead and try to create a new habit. Let's say drink water. Okay, no need of any descriptions. I can select a color, pink maybe, create habit, and there you go. Maybe another one. Let's say workout, 30 minutes workout. I'll give it, let's say, red, create habit, and that's also added. And now if I head back to our self-hosted version of Supabase, and if I refresh, there you go, both of them are in here. And currently we haven't really completed any habits yet. So habit completions is empty. I can head back. I can mark it as completed, the workout one. I'll just refresh it right away. And there you go. The same is updated in here. And if I complete this one too, and if I refresh, that's also done. So yeah, that's how simple it is. So first of all, we went ahead and created a Next.js project in Cursor. And then we got a VPS from Hostinger, set up Coolify, and installed Supabase in that particular Coolify instance. We got all the credentials, and we set up authentication and database on our app, and we linked everything together. And right now our app has a proper database and authentication, and pretty much everything works. And if you want to, let's say, make any sort of changes, add new, let's say, tables or any new features like enable or disable authentication methods. If you want to do any of this like file storage, etc., you'll be able to do all of that in here. And yeah, this is the basic setup, right? And next up, depending on exactly what you're looking for, you can go ahead and add new features. And just for demonstration purpose, I created a simple habit tracker app. And the next thing is obviously deploying the same and making it live on the internet. And again, the interesting thing here is that we are planning to self-host and, let's say, deploy this particular app in the same VPS where we have configured Supabase. And yes, you heard it correct. And for that, the first thing that you have to do is to head over to github.com. And if you don't already have an account, I don't know why you don't already have an account, but just go ahead and sign up for a new account and click on this new option to create a new repository. And I will give it a name, let's say habit tracker. I'll keep it as private for the time being. I can click on create repository. All right. And after that, I can simply copy all of this, right? So every single one of these lines, I can copy the same, open Cursor. And if I can, okay, I'll open a new terminal instance, paste all of that in here, hit enter. All right. Okay, it's completed. And if I refresh, There you go. Our initial commit is in here. And by the way, none of the changes that we made is committed in here, only the blank Next.js project. And next what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and create our commit app implemented fully. Okay. And I'll click on commit. I'll click on sync changes, click on OK. Let's wait for it. Okay, that's done. And if I refresh, there you go, app implemented fully. And here we have all the files and we pretty much pushed everything. And again, here we have a file called as .env.local, but the same is not pushed into our GitHub repo. That's because we have added and excluded that in our git ignore file. There you go. So that won't be pushed. And right now what we did is that we had the project locally in our computer. Right now we just went ahead and created a GitHub repo and pushed all the changes that we made till this particular point to this GitHub repo right here. And if you want to make your life a whole lot easier, you should definitely do this. Just make sure you regularly push all your changes. And next step, to deploy it, all I have to do is to head back to my Coolify account. And after that, I'll click on projects. So I can leave my Supabase project as it is. And okay, maybe I can create my project inside of this particular project itself. In which ways, I'll go ahead and select the project. And this right here is our active Supabase. And now I'll click on new to create a deployment for our app. And now in this case, all you have to do is to select this particular option that says private repository with GitHub app. So I'll click on the same. And I'll click on this particular option that says add GitHub app. So if this is your first time, this is going to be the kind of interface that you will see. So I'll click on add GitHub app. Okay, name doesn't matter. I'll click on continue. And now I'll click on this particular option that says register now. And just log in to your GitHub account. I'll click on confirm. I'll create app. Okay, so that part is done. And now I'll click on install repositories on GitHub button right here. It will take me to this page right here. And you have two options. If you want to give access to all the repos within your GitHub account, you can select the first option that says all repositories. But in this case, I'm only giving access to the particular repo that I want to use. So if you're comfortable giving access to all the repo, you can do that. But in this case, I'll just go ahead and select the one that we created just now, which is the habit tracker one. So let me select that real quick. Habit tracker. I'll click on install. Okay, so that part is now complete. And now, okay, there you go. I can click on save. And if I go to projects again, select the project, click on new, click on private repository. Now I'll be able to find the GitHub app that we added. So I'll click on the same. Since we only gave access to this particular repo, I can find it in here. But if you have like a lot of repos and you gave access to all of them, then if you click on this drop down menu, you'll be able to find all of that in here and select the one that you want to deploy. So I'll select this one right here and I'll click on this particular option that says load repository. So branch, I'll keep it as main, base directory, port, all of this looks good. And if you have multiple branch, make sure to select the one. So in this case, we only have like one. This is a basic and simple app. And no, this is not a static site. So do not enable this option. And now I'll click on continue. And there you go. Here you can find further details. For example, configuring the domain name, okay, name, description and all that. But if you right away go ahead and try to deploy it just like this, and if you deploy it, your app won't work. That's because we haven't really added these environment variables. So as you can see here, we have two of them. That is, okay, maybe I can make it a bit bigger. Next up, we need to add the next public Supabase URL and Supabase add-on key. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and copy the first line and I'll click on this particular option that says environment variables. And now I can click on add. I'll paste the same in here. Okay. So the Supabase URL is added and I'll click on save. And next step, I'll repeat the same for the second one as well, which is our Supabase add-on key. I'll paste it in here. Copy the value, paste it in here. There you go. And now I'll click on save. All right. So both of them are added. That is next public Supabase add-on key and next public Supabase URL. So that is configured. And again, if you want to, let's say, change any of these, like, okay, we can later change the domain, but for now that looks good. So all of this looks good. And now, okay, just making sure we have the environment variables added. Supabase add-on key, Supabase URL. Okay. And now what I'll do is I'll click on this particular option towards the top that says deploy. And the deployment process has started and it will take some time. So all you have to do is to sit back and wait. and after the deployment is complete, you'll be able to access your app. So I'll wait for some time and I'll see you afterwards. So there you go. The deployment is finished and pretty much everything should work, I believe. So let's see. So right now this right here is the domain of our app, by the way. And if I visit this particular domain and if I hit enter, there you go. Here we have our app, and this right here is our app running in localhost, and this right here is on our deployed version. Don't worry, I'll also show you how we can change the domain name. And next up, I'll click on this get started button and try to create a new account. Let's give it a name astro2 astro2@astro.com. The password, confirm password, click on sign up. Okay, there you go. I'm now logged in, and if I head back, authentication, here we have the newly created account. I can create a dummy item in here, create habit, that's added. Maybe I can check this for now. Head back to database, table editor, refresh. There you go. So pretty much everything works. Okay, so yeah, the deployment, that is our Supabase project, is even working on the deployed version of the app. So just like that, we have set up and deployed our app on the same server where we have our database as well. Yeah, and again, your app is going to be lightning fast because both your database and your app is on the same server. And I don't believe it is necessarily a good thing to have both of them in the same server. But again, if you want to do it this way, you have the option. And right now, this right here is the URL of our app, and it doesn't look good, right? Now, if you already have a domain, you have the option to connect your own custom domain and add a custom domain in here. So for that, first of all, I'll log into my Cloudflare account. So here I have opened up my Cloudflare account and opened up the DNS settings for one of the domains that I own. So if you're not using Cloudflare, just log into your domain register or wherever you manage your DNS for your domain. And the next thing that you have to do is to head back to Coolify. And first of all, you need to get your server IP address. So if you head back to Hostinger, there you go. This right here is our server IP address. So I can simply copy the same. I can head back, and then all I have to do is to create a new error code. So I can simply enter the name, that is the root, and then add my IP address in here. So in this case, I already have that, and make sure it is an error code, and I'll save it. So basically all you have to do is that you have to put the @ symbol, or let's say the root of your domain in here. It has to be error code, and copy the IP address and paste it in here, and we have saved the same. And next up, I'll head back to Coolify, and I'll open our app deployment project. And here in the domain section, this right here is our domain. And now what I'll do is I'll change that to HTTPS, and in my case, astrokj.com. And I'll select this particular option that says redirect to non-www. And okay, looks good. And now I'll click on this save button right here. And after that, you'll have to click on this redeploy option and then redeploy the project for the domain changes to take place. And once this redeployment is complete, you'll be able to access your app on the domain that we just entered. So right now we are planning to use the main domain itself, but if you want to, let's say, access it on a subdomain like something.yourdomain.com, well, you can just set up a CNAME record and take it that way as well. In which case, let's wait for this deployment to complete and let's try to access our app from the domain that we just added. So there you go. The redeployment is now finished. And if I come back to configuration, let's see. So there you go. Right now our app address is our custom domain. And if I try to visit astrokj.com and hit enter, there you go. Our habit tracker is active under our own custom domain. And yeah, pretty much everything works. So I can click on login to log into my account or sign up for a new account. So pretty much everything works. So that's how simple it is. So we just basically went ahead and created an app using AI. And more importantly, we installed Coolify on a VPS, and then we self-hosted both Supabase and also deployed our app, and that too on a custom domain. And now this is the overall flow if you want to build an app and also deploy the same. But depending on your use case, now you can go ahead and make any sort of changes to the app and then deploy, or let's say push all these changes to GitHub, and Coolify will pick up all those changes and do a redeployment for you, such that whatever change that you push to GitHub will be automatically applied to your production deployment as well. So exact same feature that you get in Vercel. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you in today's video. And again, the whole idea or the whole point of this video was to show you this workflow and not necessarily about the app that I built. I know it's a basic and very simple app, but the flow is that once you create your app, you have the option to deploy it, and not just the app, you can also deploy the database, that is Supabase, and also your app in the same VPS using Coolify. And this is the overall flow that you'll have to follow. And that's pretty much all I wanted to show you in today's video. I hope you guys found this video useful. If yes, make sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.